Hello everyone, this is Crota coming at you, giving you game one in a series. This is going to be Undead versus Undead, TBC versus WFZ here on Last Refuge. Gonna go ahead and speed things up to the 2-minute mark as things get underway. Undead versus Undead, a mirror match that you don't see very often, so I am gonna be curious as to how everything unfolds here. Are we going to be looking at a Death Knight versus Death Knight, or are we perhaps going to be looking at a Lich versus instead? All of those are possibilities as we see WFZ has opened up with a little bit later Ultra of Darkness. What does that mean? It means that he is most likely going to be going for Crypt Fiends, as you see that the graveyard is already down and that first Crypt Fiend is already being trained up. Ghouls versus Crypt Fiends seems to be the opening MO for both of these players here, as we now have TBC I'll just say Blue Undead throughout the rest of this match. The Blue Undead going to be doing a little bit of scouting. He does have a Rod of Necromancy out on him already, so he should be able to perhaps kill a critter and then try to do a little bit of creeping. He's not going to be doing that much harassment since, well, Death Coil doesn't do very much harassing anyways, and I think he's looking for a critter and he hasn't found one, so that's actually a little bit of an oversight on him, not knowing where the critters are on this map. And who knew that? Well, I knew that you need to know where those critters are, more importantly, or perhaps this is a different version or a different variation of similar maps where there are critters. You can see now that's exactly what he's looking for, a pig. He's gonna go ahead and take it down there, but the Death Knight now comes over here as well, so he does end up denying his opponents as we are going into a little bit of a fight off over here. All right, Skeletal Minions, Death Knight, not quite sure where TBC was hoping to go, gets an ensnare onto a Crypt Fiend. If that was deliberate, that was perhaps one of the best moves I've seen in quite some time, as that Crypt Fiend is just taking so much damage, being forced to use a Death Coil to do that heal. All right, let's gonna go ahead and take a look how things go down here. The Death Knight now turning around, going after a very, very low, easy hit point Skeletal Minion, as the things are now moving back off to the north here. All right, you can still see the Skeletal Minions still making a little bit of a line, making it difficult for TBC but TBC is doing a lot of harassment for a small amount of investment. That cannot be stressed enough. The Crypt Fiends just want to be left alone to try and kill some creeps with their own friends. But now we're looking at TBC the Blue Undead, getting Crypt Fiends of his own now, as we are teching the tier 2. We are about a good 30 to 40 seconds ahead there, so that Lich or Naga C, which will be coming out slightly faster, as we now are looking at the Ghouls looking to go ahead and pull back. They were taking a little bit of or the Ghouls pulling off the tree line in order to take down some of those Skeletal Minions. The Acolyte taking a little bit of damage there, as now the Death Knight is wandering in to try and get in a little bit of damage once more. There was one extra Acolyte, so this Acolyte going to be very, very important. If it gets taken out, it is going to be a very, very bad day. And oh, he looks like he's going to be able to slip through ever so barely. No, ends up walking back into the line, and that was actually a huge mistake there. All right, Ghouls, Skeletal Minions continuing to fight back here. The Halls of the Dead, the teching is nearly done, so we are going to be going for more. And this is a dangerous situation because your opponent is using the Rod of Necromancy on your own graveyard. That is going to be a big problem there, as we now see the Death Knight going to get a little bit surrounded here. All right, no, Scroll of Town Portal already coming through. An Acolyte down to 53 hit points, 56. Looks like he will survive as more Acolytes are being trained back up. 2 Acolytes lost in that harassment, but a Scroll of Town Portal was used as well. Not quite sure who came out ahead, just because the Scroll of Town Portal is very, very expensive to replace. WFZ, the Purple Undead, now looking to clear out some good creep camps, getting level 2, grabbing Unholy Aura as ready, as we are going to go after these Ogre Magis and Ogre Warriors. Back over here, Death Knight now going after Ogre Warriors here, going to be able to do a lot of damage and be able to get to level 2 as well. So both sides, after their early skirmishes, are now going back to their simple creeping patterns and hoping to get to level 2. Not quite sure who came out ahead in the early stages. I would say it was pretty even overall, as we now see a Wand of Mana Stealing picked up by the Blue Undead. WFZ picked up a Wand of Mana Stealing as well, so both sides going to be able to drain mana from each other for a net gain of 0, depending on how those charges are used, pretty much. Let's go ahead and take a look at down over here. WFZ looking to get to level 3 on this Death Knight, and it looks like it's going to be very, very easy for him to do so. That level 2 Death Coil is going to make a very big difference, and if WFZ transitions straight into pressuring, he is going to win the next skirmish. That extra 200 hit point heal going from 200 to 400 on that level 1 to level 2 Death Coil cannot be overlooked because of the amount of damage that is dealt, and also the cooldown on that Death Coil. The Death Coil cooldown is rather large, as we're going to be looking at this one Crypt Fiend here. Crypt Fiend taking a little bit of damage, ensnared on this Crypt Fiend here, and he's going to be taking a fair bit of damage as well, but he's not going to be altogether that concerned. We saw one mana stealing use there, Death Coil saving a Crypt Fiend there, and now we're just going to go back continuing this fight. So far, the other low hit point Crypt Fiend going to be backing off here, as we now see a Lich making its way over, and this could be the problem. A Frost Nova does slow things down, and that extra bit of damage is going to be a big issue there, as BM was able to grab his Lich slightly faster, and oh, Death Knight forced to use a Scroll of Town Portal right there as the Lich comes in with the Frost Nova. Beautiful timing to make sure that he was able to protect his own units. Now, WFZ is doing a good job clearing out his opponent's creeps. This is very, very important, because if his opponent wants to get more experience, he's going to have to venture out much further, and by doing so, he may end up losing units in transition. He may end up not getting the necessary experience, or the reinforcements coming in from WFZ are going to be coming in just that much faster. All of those things will eventually make a difference here, as we see the Lich accessorizing greatly, wearing 2 circlets of nobility. If 1 crown isn't enough, go ahead and put on 2, as the Lich now making its way back over here, going to be pulling these creeps down from the upper creep camp here, and we'll see what goes on. All right, Ogre Magi now finally making its way down. Lich absorbing a lot more damage than I would have expected here, and now finally going on to the rest of the Crypt Fiends. This is actually not a good spot to be in. You do not want normal damage being dealt to a Crypt Fiend there, as there is a significant bonus damage already in play. Back down over here, you can see BM finally finishing off that creep camp there, using the Blight from home in order to regenerate more hit points on those Crypt Fiends. Let's go ahead and head back over here. Ogre Magi going to get taken down. Frost Troll Berserker also going to get taken down. Lich now sitting at level 2. Most likely will be Dark Rituals, as we are at tier 3, both from the Black Citadel side, and oh no, BM was not at Black Citadel because he was forced to train up 3 additional Acolytes in order to harvest more. Perhaps that set him behind, or the overall gold loss. So it looks as though WFZ is starting to inch ahead ever so slowly. Dark Ranger now out on the field. Very, very natural third choice there for heroes, being able to just silence units, being able to grab more skeletal minions. Works very well with the Lich's Dark Ritual, gaining more and more mana by sacrificing timed life units. Lich already at maximum mana there, so it doesn't really, or is not very concerned. Slaughterhouse taking a fair bit of damage here, as we are going to be looking at what is this? The Lich and the Death Knight should already be running back here, perhaps trying to hope to pick up one additional item. We see Wand of the Wind. Robe of Magi should be given to the Lich eventually, but the Black Citadel, he wants this Black Citadel upgrade to be completed to get an additional tower to try and fight. All right, there you go. Black Citadel is up. Now trying to do a little bit of a fight back. Slaughterhouse is not being repaired. Quick Frost Nova down on that Crypt Fiend. Death Coil saving WFZ, as we now see Cyclones being brought up. The Cyclone on that Obsidian statue is going to be an important one, as it is going to be sitting in the air for quite some time. That Obsidian statue means no heals, no additional mana, and that would be a very strong choice for another Cyclone there, as you see the Obsidian statue now getting a little bit slowed and being forced to pull back. So far, this fight looks like WFZ has an advantage. He is fighting on Blight, even though it is his opponents getting some natural regeneration back at home as well. You can take a look. Death Knight just playing in the backfield here. He does have a mana stone, so interestingly enough, he is going to be able to heal pretty consistently, as now you see focus onto a Crypt Fiend, but that Crypt Fiend most likely will get Death Coil. Oh, no, that Crypt Fiend, not this one. Wow. Not quite sure how low that other one was there, as Death Coils are just flying left and right in order to heal. All right, Death Knight has enough, or may have enough for another Death Coil here. No, WFZ going to end up losing it and wasting. He wasted the charge wasted the mana, and WFZ definitely just a second late in getting off that death coil. Perhaps it was the cooldown, perhaps he was trying to maximize the heal. Regardless, he ends up losing that Crypt Fiend there. All right, supply count. Let's take a look at it. It is 39 over 50 compared to 48 over 60, but the towers are giving home field advantage nicely to BM there, as we're now looking at what the follow-up play is going to be. A 10 supply difference is rather difficult to overcome, but I do believe we are going to be picking up maybe a Dark Ranger from the tavern as well. 425 gold, 125 lumber on the second and third tavern hero, so that may be coming into play in just a moment. Death Knight, no, does not go over to the tavern. It looks like he wants to get more and more, perhaps more and more experience on his units, but this is going to turn out to be a very, very bad situation, as the Death Knight may be coming into a potential creep jack here. 2 obsidian statues in the back. That's not where you want to go, but it looks like TBC's BM's, his spider sense is tingling, knowing that something is terribly wrong. The creep jack was inbound, and he correctly makes the right decision to back off, but there is no chase. Is he going to try and do a reverse creep jack on his opponent? That is the big question now. No, he's going to be... Wait, where is he going? He's actually wasting time here, and this is where WFZ is going to continue to build his lead. He's going to continue to get more experience on his army while his opponent is just walking across the map here. And if BM is able to just get this creep camp, that is going to be a rather large walk, though, so it is going to be a little bit difficult. There is a -5 armor. There's the Death Coil. Frost Nova really want to take down that Ogre Lord, as that Ogre Lord, oh, Cloak of Flames, picking up a rather useless item unless the Death Knight wants to be in the fray. That is always going to be very dangerous. Thank you, honey, for giving me chips. I don't think I should be eating them during the cast, but thank you very much. All right, back down over here. Wand of Illusion. Doing a little bit of creeping out here, and now we got to start worrying about, or wondering about, wait, what is this? Is this a solo Lich? No, the solo Lich is just coming inside here trying to get some easy damage onto some units, and both sides are now turning this into a bit of a base race. All right, an Acolyte is down. Acolyte is down. Lich needs to be very careful here. Is it going to get landed on? No, it is not. Anti-magic shell on the Lich protects that -5 armor. Now pretty much down to what? Negative 0.8 there, as we'll see how everything goes. Units will be backing off here. You can see a haunted gold mine by WFZ, and that is going to be a very, very big play. That is not going to be your typical location where you expect to see an expansion, and it may not actually get cleared out. Also, WFZ positioning himself off to the north, making it a little bit more difficult for this expansion to even get scouted out. He's purposely buying himself time by situating himself in this direction. I don't know if it's purposely, but it sounds so much cooler when you think WFZ is purposely sitting here to long distance protection of this expansion. All right, Lich now looking to back off. Lich has +11 attack. That Robe of Magi going to be extremely helpful, but Lich does not want to be in the front lines, doesn't have high armor, doesn't have high health, and with that Orb of Corruption from the opposing Lich, that could potentially be a problem. All right, Dark Ranger getting silenced right there. Death Coil saving another Crypt Fiend, as BM is just looking for the right opportunity. Banshees, however, with that anti-magic shell, going to make it very, very difficult to do any nuking, to do anything else there, as we now see meat wagons being added. All right, 60 over 60 supply compared to 49 over 50. Meat wagon doing a bit of engaging here, going to force an engagement down. Silence onto the Banshee. Banshee down to 23 hit points. There she goes, as we are now continuing this fight once more. All right, Abomination trying to charge in after a Crypt Fiend, does do exactly that, as the fight is still raging on here. All right, attacking the Altar of Darkness instead of going after perhaps some of the other units in the backfield. The Altar of Darkness, once it goes down, resurrections on heroes will be impossible, as the Abomination down to 74 hit points, 32. One more shot. There's a Frost Nova to ensure the kill. Beautifully done, knowing how important those targets can be. All right, this push is still incoming. Meat Wagon off to the north. Looks like it is going to end up being a sacrificial lamb, so to speak. It is now trying to run away from those skeletal minions, as we are still going into an engagement here. All right, so far, back and forth, to and fro. hood of cunning, intelligence, and agility. Perhaps that should be given to the Dark Ranger. I believe the Dark Ranger, yes, is a agility-based hero, but all the units are now backing off here. Skeletal minions may be able to finish off a meat wagon down to 26 hit points. No real easy way to heal it. Wait, Unholy Aura giving natural passive regeneration. That is going to be funny if it stays alive because of that. No! The meat wagon falls at the hands of two very eager skeletal minions. And that may, that was at least a small victory there, as the Death Knight now looking to back off with that Dark Ranger. Off to the north, skeletal minions have scouted out the expansion. That one skeletal minion, about, what, 1/3 of its life left to try and stop that expansion. And this will be a very difficult war to fight on two fronts. You need to stop the expansion since you do not have one of your own. But at the same time, if you move with your army, a large enough army to deal with this in time, then you are going to get pressured back at home. WFZ clearly in the lead now, as he can just situate himself out over here just beyond range, and BM is just feeling absolutely trapped in this corner as gold is going to start to run out. There's 5 minutes left of gold. 2 ghouls being brought over. I would have thought the Spirit Tower would have perhaps started upgrading much earlier. More acolytes being brought over. Ghouls are going to start finishing this off here, as we now see a bit of a push once again. 3 abominations though by BM. Wow, 3 abominations by BM. Was there a possession? No, there was not a possession. All right, I thought I saw 3. There's only 2, so one of them could have been purple, and I'm just getting a little bit colorblind in my old age. And BM now going to lose that there. Beautiful silence on the Death Knight, preventing the heal. And small maneuvers like that is what's giving WFZ the clear advantage. Winning 1 unit, solving 1 problem, and then being able to solve another problem and do a little bit more damage with more units, always constantly helping. This one abomination down to 16 hit points, but not enough to go in for the heal. The Death Knight, perhaps out of range, perhaps on cooldown, with that death coil, still causing a little bit of problems there. All right, let's go ahead. Dark Ritual in order to get more mana here, pushing them off into a corner. I don't see any additional meat wagons. Nerubian Tower and Spirit Tower is up, so any small force is just going to get towered to death, and that is going to be the issue there. All right, we can see no more abominations there. Do we see any abominations being trained here? No abominations either. The taxation is really what's giving BM any sort of chance here, but this is just going to start to take its toll. Dark Ranger down or at level 3, continuing to fire those black arrows. You can see as those black arrows are now giving dark minions as opposed to lesser dark minions, I believe it's level 2, they're going to have more hit points, giving the Lich more mana per Dark Ritual as well, and that is just going to continue to help more and more. All right, this last Acolyte, not quite sure why it's over here. No room for him at the mine. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do very much there, as the Death Knight wanders in and absorbs 300 points of damage for no other reason other than to do a bit of scouting. Death Coil not going to be in time. Silence once more on the Death Knight. So taking those really small fights and winning them consistently, taking down 2 Crypt Fiends because of silence and just issues there. That is just going to be the continuing problem once more. All right. Oh, Skeletal Minion does not fall there. -5 armor, so it one shot would have killed it. All right, Ghoul down over here. WFZ just making sure that there isn't an expansion. Death Knight sitting at level 4, and this 20-minute game still only has a level 4 hero, not yet quite level 5. There are some good creep camps all across the map, and WFZ, you can take a look. If there is going to be a bit of reprieve, he can creep out the entire north portion of the map and not have to really worry about his opponent trying to venture that far over. He'll be able to catch him, spot him in transit, and make the appropriate adjustments. All right, Death Knight now. WFZ ready to push in here. I do not know is there a Scroll of Town portal in order to get back home quickly. No Scroll of Town portal, and never leave home without it. This this main base may end up getting taken out there. Luckily for him, though, there is no meat wagon, so he does have a little bit of time as the Acolytes now come over to try and repair. All right, Lich going after those units there. There goes 1 Acolyte. There goes 2 Acolytes. And this is just continuing to not work out well. Units are now trying to do a mad dash all the way back. Another Frost Nova hitting more units there. Acolyte is going to continue to fall. Acolytes are just going to continue to fall here. No more training on Acolytes. That is your last Acolyte. As we see a Dark Ritual come in. All right, Crypt Fiends. Everyone is now looking to back off here. This one, Crypt Fiend, taking a lot more damage. Frost Nova saves him. Death Coil saves him, but still may not be enough. Numbers are still in favor of WFZ, though, as we're sitting at a 38 over 60 compared to what looks to be a 60 supply army. 65 supply army there. And this is just going to be the beginning of the beginning of the end was a long time ago. I think we all saw WFZ doing a great job shutting down BM, and that economic advantage, as small as it was in terms of the amount of gold mined, you got to take a look at the gold lost to upkeep, a 2100 mining difference overall. And then the final gold mined was only 1,500, but that was still a big enough difference. That larger army able to pressure for that long, even though BM had his own advantage with his towers. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game 1. Please stay tuned for game number 2.